Hello, everyone. We are witnessing the most shocking reactions of criminals when faced with their sentences. From unexpected indifference to intense rage, each moment captured is an insightful look into the complex psyche of offenders. Prepare yourself to confront a range of intense emotions. Due to the extremely disgusting nature of the case, please consider carefully before continuing to watch this video. Starting with Michael Madison, born on October 15, 1977, was a serial killer and sex offender known for murdering at least 3 women in East Cleveland, Ohio, over a 9-month period from 2012 to 2013. Madison, the product of an unwanted pregnancy, was not recognized by his father, who had no contact with him. Madison's troubled past included a childhood of severe abuse, with both his mother and her boyfriend abusing him. Later, he admitted to having mixed emotions about his mother's death. On July 19, 2013, police received reports of a foul odor, investigated a garage rented by Madison, and found a decomposing body inside. 2 more bodies were discovered the next day, one in the backyard and one in the basement of an abandoned house. Following a search warrant, police raided Madison's apartment and found additional evidence of decomposition. The victims were identified as Shatisha Sheely, 28 years old, missing since September 2012. Angela Deskins, 38 years old, a resident of Cleveland, reported missing in June 2013. Sherelda Helen Terry, 18 years old, last seen on July 10, 2013, leaving a Cleveland elementary school where she had a summer job. After a standoff with police at his mother's house, Madison was arrested without any incidents. Madison's case became more notorious due to his perplexing behavior in court. He was sentenced to death on June 2, 2016, by Judge Nancy R. McDonnell of the Cuyahoga Common Pleas. During sentencing, Madison's demeanor, including a smug smile, provoked an emotional outburst from the father of one of the victims. The large man who lunged towards Madison created a scene of chaos. For those wondering about the father who jumped over the table at the murderer, his name is Van Terry, and he was not charged with anything for his spontaneous action. Fortunately, he did not succeed in his attack. Otherwise, the court might not have been able to overlook it. The Ohio Supreme Court unanimously voted to uphold Madison's death sentence on July 21, 2020. Nicholas Tuinstra, aged 35, was convicted of a double murder that occurred in Berlin, Wisconsin in 2014. The main details of his case are as follows. On Broadway Street in Berlin, shortly after 11 p.m. on September 27, 2014, police were called due to a report of an unconscious woman on the sidewalk. The caller told the police that while walking on the street, she observed what she thought was a Halloween prank. Upon arrival at the scene, police discovered a woman, later identified as Melissa Tuinstra, who was not breathing. Shortly thereafter, police entered an apartment building on Broadway and found the door leading to an apartment at the top of the stairs open. Inside, they discovered a man lying face down, partly inside the apartment and partly in the hallway. Police found 2 shell casings near the man's body. This man was identified as deceased and was later identified as Justin Daniels. Before committing the murders, Tuinstra had stalked his victims. He executed them in a manner that indicated premeditation and intent. These events unfolded against a backdrop of family turmoil, as Tuinstra's estranged wife had filed for divorce just days before the murders. Tuinstra was arrested on October 2, 2014. He was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his ex-wife and her boyfriend. He was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and 1 count of stalking. During the trial, Tuinstra exhibited unstable behavior, leading to his removal from the courtroom after an outburst of profanity. He was later brought back to hear his sentence. Tuinstra's appeal to the state appellate court was denied, and he is currently serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Markeith Loyd, a 45-year-old man with a troubled past, embarked on a life of crime at a young age. Loyd grew up in a poor, single-parent family. He stole food from grocery stores and sold drugs to help support his family. Despite his struggles, he was known to share what he had and often invited others facing hardships to his home. A pivotal moment in Loyd's youth was when he was kidnapped and beaten. His aunt, Lorraine Harp, shared that this incident changed Loyd, making him more angry. The mother of a former friend also testified that after this incident, Loyd became less cheerful and open. This was the beginning of the unleashing of the demon within him. In 1998, he was convicted of assaulting a police officer, marking the start of a series of subsequent criminal acts. Until the night of December 13, 2016, his already troubled life took an even darker turn. His girlfriend at the time, Sadie Dixon, who was 2 months pregnant, wanted to terminate her pregnancy, believing that Markeith Loyd was not a suitable husband or father. Markeith Loyd, however, did not want this, leading to intense arguments and violence between them. Eventually, for some reason, Markeith Loyd took the life of his girlfriend and their unborn child, and then fled the scene. In January 2017, while being hunted, Loyd shot and killed Lieutenant Deborah Clayton of the Orlando Police Department outside a Walmart store. This incident sparked a major manhunt. Loyd became the #1 fugitive target. The tense pursuit ended with his arrest. During the trial, Loyd represented himself, frequently disrupting proceedings with actions like abruptly leaving the courtroom or using profane language. Eventually, Markeith Loyd was sentenced to death on 5 counts, including first-degree murder for the deaths of Sadie Dixon and Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. This verdict marked the tragic downfall of a person, from childhood challenges to grave misjudgments leading to heartbreaking consequences. Tiffany Moss, born in 1983, was sentenced to death for a heinous crime committed against her stepdaughter, Imani Moss. Tiffany Moss, a kindergarten teacher, married Imani's father, Emin Moss, with whom she had 2 biological children. Imani Moss, a 10-year-old girl, endured years of abuse at the hands of her stepmother, Tiffany Moss. The abuse escalated over time. In one instance in 2010, Imani was beaten by Tiffany with a curtain rod, leading to Tiffany's arrest and a charge of first-degree cruelty to children. Tiffany Moss pleaded guilty to this charge and was sentenced to 5 years of probation. The abuse continued over the years, and in 2013, Tiffany Moss began to starve Imani. Imani's father, who worked long hours, was mostly absent and did not intervene. While Tiffany Moss denied food to Imani, she took care of and fed her own biological children. Imani was confined to her bedroom, starved for several weeks, and became too weak to move. She succumbed to exhaustion and stopped breathing on October 28, 2013. At the time of her death, she weighed only 32 pounds, the average weight of a toddler. Tiffany Moss discovered this and informed Imani Moss. Instead of promptly reporting the cause of their daughter's death to the police, Imani Moss and his wife attempted to cover up the crime by planning to report Imani as a runaway and later burning her body. After their attempt to conceal the crime failed, Imani Moss turned himself in. Both Tiffany Moss and Imani Moss were arrested. Imani Moss confessed to covering up the murder, and in 2015 he pleaded guilty to felony murder and concealing a death, receiving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The moment you let someone abuse your children without putting a stop to it, you become the silent abuser. Imani Moss agreed to testify against Tiffany Moss, who refused a plea deal. Tiffany Moss chose to represent herself and showed little emotion when facing the charges during the trial. In 2019, Tiffany Moss was found guilty of murdering Imani and was subsequently sentenced to death. Moss seemed to have no strong reaction or objection. She accepted the verdict without resistance or request for leniency. Tiffany Moss's reaction in court reflected either indifference or a lack of understanding of the gravity of the situation she faced. They're both evil sociopathic demons disguised as humans. This poor baby suffered so badly. and this cold-hearted demon shows no remorse for torturing this innocent child. If you want to express your feelings about this video or have personal stories to share, please let us know by leaving your comments or experiences below. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated with our latest videos. Goodbye and see you again. Thank you.